Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil, and I'm joined by Richard Raaphorst, director
Hello,
of Frankenstein's Army.
here I am.
Yeah.
Hi there. Hi, Neil.
Hey, it's good to
Hey.
have you here. I've been wanting you on for a while because I'm a fan of Frankenstein's Army.
Oh, so cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. At least I have one fan. Now I have a couple of more. But yeah, good to hear that the project is still alive. Well,
Yeah. I really like. I love just the idea of it, and sometimes you see like something it's like, oh man, that's a great idea. Then you watch a movie and you're like, oh well, it was still a great idea, but maybe they didn't pull off the movie. But I enjoy Frankenstein's Army. It's got crazy monsters, which
yeah.
I'm a fan of, and,
Okay.
and again,
Yeah.
a great concept.
Thank you. Yeah, it is a passion project. It is. I made it with the idea like I can only make one movie in my life because it's so tough in the Netherlands to get this kind of stuff from the ground. So I thought I get only one chance. So everything I have, I just throw in it. All the designs and all the ideas. I thought, this is the moment. Seize the moment. So.
Yeah.
I think it's why it's so rich for such a little movie because it's really a little movie, and it was certainly not a movie I wanted to build a career with. No, it was straight almost like a very impulsive thing to do, like bang, and then it's there.
Yeah,
well, yeah.
So where did the idea come from? Because it's very fitting. Because I would think if Frankenstein was real and he was around during World War II, he would have been a guy that the Nazis would have tried to hire.
Yeah. Well, I think so. Secondly, I think the Americans will try as well. But the Netherlands, the Germans are our neighbor country, so naturally there's a lot of friction in between the Germans and the Dutch because the war, always the war, and I was with my friend who was a producer and I said, let's make a movie because I was a commercial director at the time and said let's make a movie, yeah, let's make a horror movie. Okay, so let's make a zombie movie, yeah, cool, but let's do not zombie Nazis, because that's really bad taste. And then we went like, yeah, but it's bad taste, but it's still very cool. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do Nazi zombies then. And the idea came from the fact that the Germans and the Netherlands, we have a lot of friction, like Norwegian and Americans. So it's not really tough, it's a bit jokey. And we have this selection of islands on the north of the Netherlands, and the islands, but the top of those islands is straight on the border of Germany and the Netherlands. And we were thinking about what if the Nazis built their secret place right there, in this weird zone, which is very unclear if it's still Germany or the Netherlands. So this was the basic idea, and then and it was named worst case scenario at the time, but and then we went to Cannes and we met this producer, and he said we are going to finance this movie. So we signed a contract and we lost all the rights, and and that guy eventually, unfortunately, he died and took the rights with him into his grave.
Oh wow!
And so it's a tragic black comedy here, and so I was seriously fucked because what can I do? I cannot take him out of the ground and ask him to resign the contract. And so I thought the only escape here is a new title and to change every element in the story 180 degrees. So this is what I've learned in advertising. When you're stuck, turn 180 degrees. It's a phrase from Francis Ford Coppola. So I changed the title from a very vague title into a solid title like Frankenstein's Army, and the American protagonist became the Russians, and the present became the past, and the slicky, smooth camera movements became handheld. And so Frankenstein's Army was born.
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot.
I was wondering why you went with handheld and like almost like found footage, and I guess that's part of the reason.
Yeah, that's the reason. That's the only way I could do it, because if I will go really like the Hollywood style, I needed another million, and so I chose for handheld. But after all, handheld was way more difficult because all the takes were so long, like 1 minute, 2 minute long takes, because I couldn't cut it. If you, and so it was even more difficult than I thought. So one of the things that I will do differently, maybe, is not choose for the found footage, but even when I look back in retrospect, I think the found footage is still really okay, and it makes the movie a bit weird, which I really like. And so, it is what it is, and I'm kind of happy with it. And it's a movie that really came straight from my gut. And what can I wish more, Yeah.
So when you couldn't use, just a straight up zombie movie anymore, before that with the zombie Nazis, were they just straight up zombies, or were they still like with weapons, connected to them?
You mean the zombies in the movie? Or
yeah, the original idea before you totally changed it to Frankenstein.
Oh, no, that's the only thing that kept the same, because I was sure from the beginning that I kept ownership of my own drawings and designs.
Right.
That was the only thing that was still mine. So that was the only thing I didn't need to return 180. And I'm very happy that some of the creatures came straight from the original worst case scenario. I just gave them a different purpose.
Were any of those things based on anything, or they just spring out of your mind, all these crazy creatures?
Yeah, they just came out of my mind. I think I realized I was designing toys for adults or something like that, like war toys. So I also came with the idea that Frankenstein's father was a toy manufacturer. I also stole this idea from this infamous Nazi Dr. Josef Mengele, whose father was also a toy manufacturer. And I thought, basically what we like to do is playing with war toys. If you play a game or, watch a movie or playing with Star Wars toys, you're playing with war. And I thought, I really like to design those creatures as if they were huge toys. With clunky arms and really like this can do this and this can do that, and because of my visual background, it was a feast to design them. It was really like so cool. I couldn't wait to I wanted to design every day one creature, and they just came randomly in my head, and I just wanted to create at least a few monsters that we've never seen before. Yeah. It's so difficult to bring anything new to the table. And for instance, I was walking with my kids through this parade through the city where I live, and there was this young boy in front of me, and he had a backpack with a Spitfire on top of his backpack. So I was thinking while I was walking this walk, like, oh my God, what if I chop off the nose of the Spitfire and put it as a head of one of the Zombots, So when I came home, I just quickly behind my drawing table and made all those variations with Zombots with Spitfire heads, just because then they can just mow the soldiers away from battlefield. But I don't know. It's really it's just a result of having fun in your work, really.
It was funny because I watched it again last night for the interview, and when I was watching them, I totally thought like, "Wow, these would make such great toys."
yeah, I think so. But maybe one day, I change them into toys.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned that, even the movements, because some of them almost were like wind-up toys, how they moved because they were very bulky and impractical in a way.
Oh, that will be really, really cool. That's basically a really cool idea, actually.
Yeah. Could the actors see in some of those? Because when I'm watching that again, I'm thinking, I don't think these guys could even see behind like the masks and the big helmets and things.
Very difficult, very difficult. But we made little holes and stuff, and sometimes they could see.
Right.
And they actually knew what they were doing. Yeah, it is. The most of the actors in the suits were Czech, from the Czech Republic, and they only spoke Czech Republic, so they didn't even understand what I was saying. Like, go to the right, and you just go to the left. It's all worked out quite okay. Yeah.
You mentioned a couple times about the World War II, and since you're close to Germany and stuff, and even though that's almost that's like 80 years ago, there still is like remnants of that, like that. There's still a little bit of. Could you just speak on that, like growing up next to Germany and the feelings you have for that?
It's still big. It's still big because I live in a town named Gouda. The Gouda is where the cheese comes from, and it's a very ancient city, very old. And if you walk through just over the pavement, you see those golden bricks in the floor, and those are from families who have been deported to Auschwitz and other camps. So it's really like every day you are being confronted with the past, and I think it's a good thing. But also, our station has been used by the Nazis and the Dutch Nazis, called the NSB, to deport the Jew families straight in one line to the camps. This place was a very famous town already back then. And so everywhere are signs of the war, and it's rooted so deep that you can say it became a part of the culture. It became the culture is built up by the past, I think the culture of America is quite rich, but we ignore it because it's so modern. We think it has to be old, and I don't think that's true. It has a very strong culture, and I think the war has made such a big impact that it's still very much alive today, but in a different way that, let's say, 10 or 20 years ago.
Sure.
Things that were taboo then are now, by the new generation, more like a source for inspiration rather than the forbidden territory to enter. Yeah. I see it changing rapidly with this new generation who are taking things not so serious. But if you talk about the Nazis, in their eyes, it's just a pure evil. It's a pure evil. It's charismatic and totally inhumane on every level. And it's interesting. You can say that the trauma continues generations before it fades away.
It's interesting when you said there's charismatic, because I think sometimes people overlook that. It's like, well, for people to do something so horrible, they had to have been attracted to it. You know what I mean? And obviously, if Hitler was a charismatic person because he had people do horrible things, and even just their suits and stuff, which makes it so good in a cinematic movie. They do look cool. The long, black trench coats.
Yeah, that's all Hugo Boss. Hugo Boss got the order to design those. And that guy really knew what he was doing, because he wanted to intimidate, but also create a elite group that you really want to belong to. So they, even when they put on their suit, they felt different. They felt superior. They felt like the Übermensch. That we have this phrase that the suit makes the man, and in a way that's really true. And so they became the elite, and it's very interesting. It's really like the psychological effect of men wearing clothes or women and how they feel. like a second skin. But also it makes them, it makes them do horrible things. Yeah.
Yeah. So when the movie when you're making the movie, even before it comes out, was it easy to get people involved, or?
No, not at all. It was really the most difficult thing was to find a financer. That was really tough, but eventually the financer found us. Now everyone wanted to join the project. It was really, I got so much help from all kind of directions. It was really wonderful. So yeah, it was good. It was a good experience. Yeah.
Was there any issue using swastika symbols in the movie? Because I know some movies that are made in Germany, they're not allowed to use those.
Well, this is one of those things that were taboo like 10 years ago, but now we can use them. I thought I hate the swastika symbol, and I think when I see it, I feel a shock. But I thought I cannot deny this. I can't deny it. So I must use it. And when I use it, I'm going to use it good, because it is what it is. We are talking about Nazis, and you must feel bad about them. And the symbol, the swastika, is such a powerful, hypnotizing logo almost, that you cannot surpass it. Really, if you make something that looks like the swastika, it's still the swastika. So yeah, that was a tough choice. But then I thought, let's do it. Yeah.
And so the Frankenstein connection, which comes out of, you can't no longer do just your straight up Nazi zombie movies. So when did you decide on Frankenstein?
I wanted to make a combination. It was totally out of the blue. Like, okay, I'm going to connect two worlds which are never connected before. And I'm a big fan of Frankenstein. I think Frankenstein, the original one, or the Boris Karloff one, really was the inspiration for me to the desire to make horror movies. So I thought, okay, let's go to the core. What do I want to make? Well, I want to do something like Frankenstein. Okay, but this is a Nazi zombie movie. Okay, so what if I can combine those two? What will happen? And I was having this thought experiment, and I thought, it's so fucking crazy. Let's do it. Let's make an impossible marriage. Like two totally different things. One fictive character from Mary Shelley and a piece of history. Let's combine it into this weird thing. And this is what I like. I like to do experiments and to make weird combinations. And it became the movie.
Yeah, and it totally works too. And I really like Dr. Frankenstein in the movie. So first of all, how did you find your Dr. Frankenstein? Because he's perfect.
Well, actually, my producer tipped me, like, hey, what about Caro Roden? And I thought, well, I didn't saw much in him at the time. I couldn't place him as the doctor, but as soon as I spoke to him, somehow we have the same dark imagination. I mean, Karel is a really dark guy, or not dark as evil dark, but like dark water, you can't look into the depth. And he has this strange sense of humor that somehow we spoke the same language, and it was very easy with him to communicate and to level up. And so it became, as soon as he did some screen tests in front of me, it was suddenly it all fell into place. And I thought, you are already the doctor. I mean, please show up. And he did. And I think if he was performed by someone else, it should have been a different movie.
Yeah. And I always think that Dr. Frankenstein from the Karloff movie is really underrated as a great villain because I love the movie and I love Karloff in the movie.
Yeah.
But I think the Dr. Frankenstein character is just amazing in it.
Yeah, he's amazing. And also, I adore the Hammer series. I adore the Hammer Frankenstein movies. Also, Peter Cushing really knows how to make the Doctor the villain, because he becomes really, really dark and bad. And, he becomes a real monster. And the monster is basically only the victim.
Yeah, exactly. Because in the real story, or the original in the book, the monster isn't the villain of the movie. It is Dr. Frankenstein.
He is. Shit, man. I want to see it again. I'm totally inspired to watch it again. Yeah.
Have you seen the play, the recent play? Because I'm drawing a blank on he played Doctor Strange, Cumberbatch.
No, I haven't. Is it good?
Oh yeah, I love it. It's they show it here in Halloween, like a recording of the live play from England.
Oh wow.
And what's interesting, I've seen both versions. They alternate who plays the Doctor and who plays the monster.
Yeah.
And so I've seen both versions, and it's interesting because, it's kind of a play on their sort of the like two sides of the same coin.
Yes.
The creator and so it's interesting to see each actor play the other role, but it's really well done.
All right, I'm going to check it out. It is good. Everything is better than Netflix. Yeah. But cool. Okay. Yeah.
And I love Frankenstein too. I've been carving Frankenstein's monster into a stone in New York for the last few years. I only work on it a couple days a year, but it's one of my favorite things is Frankenstein.
You carving it?
Yeah, carving it in stone.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not an artist, so it's not perfect, but it's fun to do.
Fantastic, man! I didn't know. Yeah, let's. So is that one of your hobbies, carving?
It's really? Kind of a it's a weird backstory. I don't know if you're familiar with the movie Basket Case.
Yeah, of course.
Right. Okay. And so I had the star of those movies, Kevin Van Hentenryck, on the show, and his real job now is he became a stone carver, and he does a free class every year in the summer, and so we went out to do this, and so he taught me how to carve stone, and so every year I go out there in Hunter Mountain, and I work on this Frankenstein I've been doing.
That's fantastic, man. You should take a picture of it.
Yeah, I have some. I'll send you one if you like to see it.
It's a great project.
Yeah. No, I can remember something about Dieter Laser. I don't know if there was like a little feud with you two. Was he ever involved in the movie or in talks to be in the movie?
Yeah, it was my producer once wanted to have him on board because he was such a freak in. How can I forget that name? The Human Centipede, but I thought it was a bad idea because when you have Dieter Laser on board, everyone will say, "Hey, the Human Centipede,"
That's true.
He is so strong in that movie that you can never ever make Dieter Laser your own doctor. Thankfully, he was in such a heavy contract that he was not allowed to do any other horror movies while he was still attached to the Human Centipede series. So, yeah, that saved me from him, and I'm I'm very happy that we didn't put this through because I love what he is doing in the Human Centipede, but I think it will have ruined my film.
I agree with that because I actually think if he hadn't done the Human Centipede, I think he'd have been great as Dr. Frankenstein. But I didn't think about that before, especially playing another doctor. It'd be one thing if he's another horror movie, but to play like two mad scientists, it's too similar to the other characters.
Yeah, it will feel like a rip-off as well. Like, oh, they're now doing the same thing because of it's cheap. It's a cheap choice. It's not authentic. It's just based on what you already know someone. It's a creative choice. Bad choice. Bad. No.
And there's a lot of Nazi undertones to his Dr. Hyder character. So
yes,
it's very
definitely. Well, he's German, isn't he? No, but that's true. So it's way too much into the same line as my character. So now I think Carol is way better choice. Also because Karel Rodin is a bit more subtle. Mm-hmm. He's not so cartoony, and I like the guy as he is Frankenstein. He's not a real villain to me. Yeah, he's just this a bit clumsy. Trying to find his way in the war, and a bit bonkers, of course. Sure. Yeah, but he's not really like, oh my God, this guy is so evil. He must die now. No. And also, in a war are no heroes. There are no heroes in a war. Everyone has blood on his hands. Mm-hmm. So why should I try to make heroes anyway?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say that because he's not really a Nazi in the movie, but he's in a world where what he wants to do fits in with the Nazis, and he's allowed to work on his own projects. Yeah, within this insane world.
Yeah, he's not good, not bad. He's not for the Nazis or anything else. He's just for himself there. Mm-hmm. And basically, I saw him as almost like a car mechanic who is just producing Volkswagen, cars. And, after the war, what kind of business he's going to do. And I thought whenever I'm going to make a sequel, maybe now he's, when they bring him back to life, if it's possible, he probably is working for the Russians.
Right.
Yeah, because they took his head with them to the Kremlin. So I thought maybe they're going to sew it on another body and then, But anyway, that's never happened to become a sequel. So,
well, is it something you would like to do?
I'm not sure. If they ask me to do it, I will, because I think it's a great way to make a living. Uh-huh. But it's not my first choice to do it. Mm-hmm. No. And but if they ask me to do it and there's a budget and the script is really nice, why not? Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
Since it was your first feature and you haven't made a feature since then, is that something you would like to do though? Is to continue making movies?
Yeah. I'm going to make. I have a. I really love to do another one, and I'm working hard to do another one. But the film landscape is so difficult at the moment that all the connections I had 5 years ago, they are all gone. And I see since the physical media disappeared, the small theaters and of course the DVD, Blu-ray, it is extremely hard for an independent filmmaker to find a budget for his movie. Mm-hmm. And especially when now the market is being controlled way more and more by the three giants. You all know who the three giants are. I think it's Disney, Universal, and probably Warner Brothers. They buy up the theaters, they make selections, and there's no room for smaller budget movies. At least not here in the Netherlands or in Europe. And so it's a small movie it's a high risk for an investor to get his money back. And this makes people very, very, very insecure. And so we see now the trend of remakes and reboots and sequels because of this fear. And so it's extremely tough. it's extremely tough to put something from the ground which is original for your, if you think it's original, for a mid-range budget. So I'm kind of frustrated by this, but I'm also from my nature is that I'm very optimistic. So nature finds a way sooner or later.
Yeah.
For everything is a solution, but I don't see it yet. But it will be there.
So, when you put out Army of Frankenstein's Army, did that play a lot of theaters in Europe? Like how did you release it?
It had a small theater release, and because of that, it became a big hit in Japan. It didn't play at all in the Netherlands, but it made its money back. And then after the cinema release, it toured for 1 year all over the world in all the festivals. This was really the time of my life. And then they throw it on the DVD, and I really like the DVDs. And there's a lot of extras. Not that I want you to buy one.
I have Frankenstein's Army. I have the DVD. And, I like specials myself. I love commentary tracks, and it's kind of becoming a thing of the past. A lot of new releases don't even have commentary tracks.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's also nice to do all those things. Yeah, and but you never know how things are evolving. I try to I set up a movement called the Mad Scientist, and our goal is to make independent stuff ourselves. And so we are now developing projects, and we are already getting attention. And somehow this new format works better for me than as a solo artist. And so I think I found a way which looks quite promising at the moment. So I think it's just a matter of time now and discipline. Time and discipline, man. With those two things, you can achieve everything. Even stop drinking. Yeah.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
So I assume you're gonna stay in the horror genre.
Yeah, I think I'm born in the horror genre, and I don't see any escape. Maybe, yeah, I'm going to say I'm going to use a very dirty word, drama. Maybe I'm going to make a drama, but it's still connected to the genre.
Right.
Yeah. I have this. Maybe someone else who is hearing that is going to steal this idea from me now, but I want to make a movie about the director of the original Godzilla movies, because he was abducted by North Korea to make their version of Godzilla. And then he escaped North Korea, fled to the US, became an employee of Walt Disney, made a production for them. And then he said in a quote, "I rather want to work for the North Koreans than for Walt Disney." So I think this is a real message. This is a real message, because this is all what it is, The big film producers are not really filmmakers; they are just running a business, and their business model is even worse than a dictatorship. So, I think there are a lot of layers which are criticizing the today's movie world, and this is inspiring to me, and I think it could be a great dramatic story here, but also with a lot of black humor.
Yeah, and so is that that's a true story? I never knew that.
This is a true story. This is fucking true.
Wow.
And there's not even a documentary about it, not even a book. There are only interviews. Yeah.
I love it.
It's beautiful, really. Check it out, and you will be surprised.
Yeah, I definitely will look into that. Where did you shoot Army of Frankenstein? Because like the bunkers and everything look great.
It was all being shot in the Czech Republic in the empty mine complex, and this mine complex was deserted. It was as they left it from one day to the other. And seriously, I think the location was so rich and diverse. You can shoot 3 movies there. Mm. It's like a complete town under the ground. It's amazing. Yeah. It's
Was that hard at all to get some of the creatures in these small spaces along with the actors?
It was very difficult. You need to crawl through little holes and the pathways and little corridors, and it is all what you see. It was all what you see, but only the route to get somewhere is like long and narrow and hard. And imagine we were shooting with blanks because we wanted to do as much in camera as possible. We were shooting with blanks, and the deafening noise of shooting those blanks in those small corridors it's like intense. It's like pure violence. Mm-hmm. It was so intense, but it was so real. Like, bah, 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 and then you just hear nothing again. Yeah, it was really tough to make, but the physical nature of doing that makes you committed somehow. Mm-hmm. It makes you almost feel like, okay, you're on the battleground now, and you just have to do it.
Yeah. I think it comes through in the movie too, because it adds to the madness and you feel like the claustrophobia that they're in this small area with these these monsters and they can't really escape.
Yeah, I think so too. And sometimes it was really difficult to get your equipment there, or we had an injured guy at one moment, and the hospital personnel hardly came in with this brancar, this little, and but at the same time, if you do it all together, it's also very bonding, Mm-hmm. I think it's a totally different feeling when you do this in a studio, and then washing your hands, and then, you can read a book or a little bit on the internet, It was really like being on a camp together, on a boot camp, rather than chilling out in a climate-controlled studio with perfect catering and Thai massages, Thai massage. It's it was cool. It was good. Yeah, it was tough, but I really didn't want to miss this in my life.
Yeah. So you mentioned the festivals. That was like your time of your life. And I've just started doing film festivals last year. And I've had a great time myself. And I do have a short movie at them, but I don't have a big, movie.
But short movies are really great. Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed you've done a lot of short films. One of them I watched, Zombie 1.
Oh, that was my first one. And yeah, as a student, it's not the best one, but I did 4 shorts, as I recall. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did that help you? Did that help you prepare to make a feature, you think?
Yeah, of course, because then you know how it works on the set, and the circumstances on the short are always worse than the feature film, because it is short, so you have to do everything yourself. And but yeah, it prepared me mentally to do a feature film. Also how to deal with actors, how to have patience and to control your nerves and your stomach. Yeah, and it's addictive. Filmmaking is addictive.
Yeah. So the festival run, what were some of the places you saw your movie at?
Really like Eastern Europe, States, Korea, Germany, London, really all over the world. One of the best festivals ever was the Grossman Festival, I think in Croatia. When I got there, it's the Wine and Film Festival. When I got there, everyone was so fucking wasted. that I needed to check in myself in the hotel because the owner was just lying on the floor. And it was fantastic. It's my all-time favorite festival ever.
Yeah.
It was such a chaos that it felt like I was suddenly in a Western movie or something. And but I loved it. People were just so cute and warm and friendly. They stole my soul, man. There, really.
Well, did the movie get different receptions depending like where in the world you watched it?
Yeah, they didn't like it at all in the Netherlands. I think there was too much fantasy in it. They loved it in Japan, and overall the critics were more good than bad. Some really appreciated the visual value. Some who compared it with Hollywood productions found it, disappointing.
That's an unfair comparison.
Yeah, you cannot make something which really is suitable for everyone. You know what I mean? So I never tried that. Take it or leave it. And I think, I got great. One of the things that I still get today is fan art. Really, like every week I get like or an email or someone is sending me like drawings, and there was even a guy who made a complete statue of Mosquito. And so then I know that the film has been appreciated. And that's the evidence. And, my ego is big enough to embrace the evidence.
Right, of course. I don't blame you. You said it was really big in Japan, and do you know why? Do you know if it's the monsters, or maybe it's a combination of both the monsters and the Nazi element? Because I know, like, fashion there, like they wear a lot of Nazi clothes, which is a weird phenomenon, but they do that in Japan.
Yeah, it's not about the Nazis. It's really about the combination of man-machine.
Yeah,
and this was done in a way that was new for them. Japan is really obsessed by technology and robotics, and this came very near to that, but then in a weird context. And I think because of the weird context, it was something new, just a new flavor of technology. Like, now we have also this kind of ice cream. I never tried this taste. Oh, what is the taste? Frankenstein taste, or zombot taste, and so it's delicious. And so I think it's both of the combination of things. Yeah.
So what was it about horror movies that made you interested in them? I guess what was like some of the horror movie you watched that made you a horror movie fan?
I think it's I was exposed on a very young age to Lucio Fulci's Zombie. Zombie 2, it's the same movie, of course. But one of my favorite horrors is still Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, that's my favorite zombie movie.
Yeah, it's so good. I can watch it endlessly. I can watch it every week. And then I watched, I did several cuts, or the Italian version, which, what was in the...
they really cut out like most of the comedy in the Italian cut.
Yeah, but then it's a bit of a different movie.
Yeah, it is.
And then I watched the Romero version again, and I don't know, somehow this movie, it just works. I don't know why. And the things are just happening, and it's really amazing. It's not really designed as a horror movie, like The Shining and Exorcist or Alien are brilliant movies, but they are designed to scare you. And Dawn of the Dead doesn't do that at all. It's designed to tell a situation almost. Like, this is the situation. And we are just exposing it in a neutral possible way. And it works. I think it's amazing. And now I also want to watch it again. It's just like Frankenstein. Yeah.
I love it too. I have that box set where it's got like 5 different versions of the movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's very dramatic, and you care about like the 4 characters so much. So even though like yourself, I've seen it many times, you still get emotional when Flyboy gets bit, and people start to die and become zombies. There's really not even that many people who main characters who die in the movie, but they all mean a lot when they do.
That's true. And you just want to survive with them, and you're just following the right steps. It's almost like an instruction video where they show you how to survive in a zombie apocalypse and make the right choices, and then they finally make the wrong choice, and it all falls apart. Very interesting.
What did you think of the remake? Because I'm not really a big fan of it, but
I found it
like so many people love it. I never really know why.
I never know why as well. I found it very boring, and just one of the standards, just as a standard zombie movie. It's slick, it's predictable, I don't even remember characters.
I don't either.
Boring, just boring.
Yeah, I agree. And then like because you remember all the zombies too from Dawn of the Dead. Even if they're only on screen for a little bit, but you remember the Harry Krishna zombie and the helicopter zombie and all these people. But when they're a big like swarm of zombies where you can't even really differentiate them, I don't think that's very interesting or scary or memorable.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you don't understand. They are all the same. They're all running, looking violent creatures. They all have the same expression, and it's missing the point. At least maybe the director wanted to miss the point, but it's not. Yeah, it's boring. Really.
Yeah, I agree.
Doesn't bring anything new to me.
Is it weird to you that zombies have become so mainstream? Because when I was a kid, I loved Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead, and I love zombie movies, but not everyone else did. But now it's like everyone knows zombie movies. You can go buy zombie T-shirts, in the mall, anywhere. It's like it'd be very hard to find like a Dawn of the Dead shirt back in the 80s.
True. Yeah. It's now, but the cult lovers of the past are now the designers of today, and it's because we are also living in a photocopy culture that we just copy and then doing the same thing over and over again. Everything becomes bland and the same. And since The Walking Dead, the popularity of The Walking Dead, it's generally accepted now. It was a niche once, and they made the niche working on a commercial level, and this is what's happening in with everything that is successful. It is being discovered, and then it becomes part of a mass production machine. It's happening with everything. This is corporate. The new zombie Dawn of the Dead is just a corporate movie. And what I think is tragic is that the new generation loves this new kind of movies because they don't know how it was before. So this is the new standard. It's the slick Disney taste. That everything looks fucking the same. It makes me puke Disney I hate them.
Yeah, I even think that when they'll remaster a movie, and sometimes that's great and all. But I've seen movies like I actually went to see the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I saw an original 35 millimeter at the theater, and it's grimy and it looks awesome for that movie.
Yeah,
and then I also saw the remastered one, and while you could see things better stuff, I actually thought it was worse. It took away from the movie.
Yeah,
because some of the stuff you don't want to see too much.
True. Yeah.
And that movie should be like it's almost like a movie you're not supposed to watch. It's supposed to have like this dirty like element to it.
Yeah, it has to feel like a little bit of snuff and obscure, and preferably on a bad VHS tape.
Yeah.
Same as Cannibal Holocaust. You also don't want to remaster that movie. The magic is totally gone. And I don't want to be this guy who says, "Oh, in the past everything is better," right. Because that's not really the case. But what we lost is a kind of flavor that will never return. And we know what flavor this is. It's the flavor of, okay, I'm going to watch a movie now, and it makes me feel dirty inside. Right. This is really bad for the eye, and this is gone. Now everything is glossy and beautiful produced, beautiful execution. Everything is perfect, but what we lost is the authenticity and the handwriting of the maker. That this is gone. You don't see the artist. You hear the producer. And I know because I'm working a lot for film, and I see the difference of 10 years ago and now. That stuff is being created in the meeting room. And not by this weird director.
Yeah. Yeah, like a committee. Movies are made by committee now instead of like a single vision.
And how can a movie created by a committee, how can it be a passion product? It can't. It's a rationalized, distributed vehicle. And how to escape from this? That's the big question.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I leave that question for you.
It was interesting. I guess I had on the show who made, he makes small horror movies, but he also works for Lionsgate. And so when I was out in LA, he had me take a tour of Lionsgate, where you work. And himself and the people he said who worked there, like when they originally started, you could totally tell the difference. Like all their offices had toys everywhere and horror movie posters. And then there's only maybe 5 or 6 of those people left. And the rest of the place just looked like, regular office. They were office workers. And he said, they don't care about horror movies or anything. It's just a job to them. But the original people there, it was clear that they loved, horror movies. They had, Devil's Reject stuff everywhere.
Oh,
House
absolutely.
of Thousands of Corpses. And,
Totally, I totally agree with you. But this is what I said. It starts with authenticity, and then finally it becomes the photocopy culture. And this is everything that has success is destined to become, to be followed up, and then you have this mass product. It's with music, it's with fashion. It's with everything. It's just how economics are working, and it has a downside and upside, probably. Yeah.
I know around Halloween time at Walmart they sell Hellraiser shirts and it's just Jason, all these things. And I always think it's just so strange that you could buy a mass-produced Hellraiser T-shirt at Walmart.
Yeah, that's really weird. That's really weird. Yeah.
And I think Target has Misfits, as far as music goes, and it's it just seems wrong that that's even a mass-produced shirt in Target. Like
Yeah, that's right. That's really weird. I also see like mass-produced T-shirts of this English band Joy Division. You know, like what? And then I see teenagers wearing T-shirts of Joy Division, whose singer hang himself in the kitchen of his mother. You know, it's so weird. Yeah, but it's also funny. It's also interesting. You know.
It's I don't know what to think of it, honestly. But the you mentioned mad scientists or something. Was like your group of people that are working on projects.
Yeah, true. So I launched the Mad Scientist as frustration, like I want to have my creative output, and it's so difficult. So better to collaborate with people who are dealing with the same issue, and combine our forces, and let's see how far we can get. So we're doing this right now, and it goes pretty well actually. And it's also a lot of fun. We are developing now 3 projects, and already the developing is really, because I'm now not independent of someone else who is, only marketing orientated. Now we can control the output, and it's really satisfying. Yeah, maybe it takes a bit longer, but the process is really more satisfying. And so I have a couple of projects. I cannot spoil too much here, but one of them is about killer gnomes.
I love it. Okay.
You will see proof of concept pretty soon.
All right. I always have a fascination for small creatures in horror movies.
Okay, cool.
I always find them creepy for some reason. I don't know.
Oh, they are very creepy. Yeah.
So killer lawn gnomes, but and when you have more information for that, I'd love to, if you could send it to me, I'll put it up on the website.
Yes, I do, and please follow the Mad Scientist movement, because we need followers who are really, having their heart on the right place. So, yeah.
Where can you follow that? Is there like a Facebook page?
Oh, it's Facebook. Yeah, it's Facebook, Mad Scientists movement, and we also have an Instagram account. Don't do much on Twitter. I don't know. I don't either. I just don't really like it. I know I probably should, because there's a lot of people there. It would probably be helpful for the podcast and everything. I don't enjoy being on there. No, I also have nothing to say. There's so much, shall I say? Right. I don't know. I drink alcohol-free beer today, guys.
Right. I just be spamming my stuff, I guess. But listen to the show. Well, I'm going to check that out, and I really enjoyed having you on, and I hope for people who have not seen Frankenstein's Army, go check it out. It's not Army of Frankensteins, because someone else put that movie out, which I think they really try to capitalize on your title, but
maybe, who knows? Yes, it's Frankenstein's Army, so
it's currently on Amazon Prime, and you could, if you're a video on demand guy, you can rent it from a lot of places. But I do recommend getting the physical copy.
Thank you for that. Yes, cool, sir. It was really nice talking to you.
You as well. I appreciate this.
Awesome. Yeah. And hanging there, and good luck with the carving.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll email you a picture after the show.
Yeah, send me the brick. Just send me the brick.
All right.
Okay, man.
All right. Thanks.